your phone down.
Oh, hey, hi, ho.
Ho.
This way.
And across from me.
Ho.
That way?
Ho.
And across from me.
Yeah, I heard. I just wanted to just... you ruined it now. Ruined it. Kadia, me, quesadilla. Stupid fat hobbit.
Wow, that was rude. And a return of the special guest to my right.
Tavonya. Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac.
There it is.
Return of the Mac.
Top of the world.
You know
the worst thing is?
Return of the Mac.
KDR.
Return of the Mac.
KDR.
I'm testing my mic because last week it just wasn't picking up
KDR,
sound.
the reason why I'm saying stop doing that is because when I have to edit, it's on one audio track. And listening to your voice spike in people's headphones.
I think it'll make a difference
No,
though,
it
because
doesn't.
last week no one could hear me.
People
So
don't
you
make
can
a
hear me this
difference,
week.
she
Do you know what I mean?
People
Don't
are on the
make
way.
up for it.
People are on the way to work. The last thing they want to hear is your loud voice screaming at them when they're listening to the pod.
I'm going to make up
That
for
is a
it.
good point.
Oh, how you doing, sir?
I'm going to make up for it.
Shut up.
You know what
how
I
you
mean?
doing?
She can't do it. She can't do
She
it.
can't shut up.
I'm alive and I'm kicking and I'm doing well.
You
Breathing.
are doing well.
I'm breathing. It's a good thing to be breathing.
Katie, how you doing?
Good to be alive. I love y'all.
I don't love you, Nigel Powers.
I love you. Actually, I love you. I love
spread
Mark
some
too.
love.
Shout out to Mark. I miss Mark. We love you all.
How are you doing,
I
Katie?
think everyone knows how I'm doing. I'm all right today. I'm fine. Apparently, I look like Pepto-Bismol. Like a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. But, you know what?
Oh, have you ever heard anyone say it like that before?
No.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to leave
Oh
it
yeah,
there.
shout out to the one-armed bandit. Can't stand it. Mark.
I know, I got it. But I really like the spin on that.
The guy who's been flinging shoulders for the last 3 weeks. Shoulder fear fling.
I was just about to say that.
M&S advert.
Have you seen the evidence?
Who hasn't seen that advert? And Tavonya, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Can't complain.
All right, well,
Let me
because we didn't-
kickstart it, please. I
because we
beg.
didn't, babes, relax.
Mark told me to.
Right, yeah, because we didn't fully integrate what we wanted to talk about last week. We wanted to talk about black business as an overall. I'm going to hand over to Kadia because when I asked Kadia for an actual press pack to actually be able to break down what you do as a business and how you started your business, she didn't. She just sent us like
What the actual fuck? Yes, I did.
late on the day you gave it to us.
No, I gave you the week before.
No, you didn't. On the day, because you can check the group. On the day when we asked, where Tavonya was coming on the show, and we asked, and I asked for a press pack, you gave it to me on the day. You're welcome to check the group.
Oh
You're
no.
welcome to check the group.
Oh no. Oh. Not you. Not you. But I'm like, hold on. Because when I came home
Why are
from
you
the Black
shouting?
Business Show,
Why are you shouting?
'cause I'm a bit excited. You still can't hear me. Come
see?
away from him
So,
now.
See what I said before? What I said.
When I
I'm
came
not gonna
home,
scare
all right,
people.
let me just put it this way. When I came home from the Black Business Show, the next day I spoke to you lot. We had a meeting, call everything, saying that we're gonna bring Tov on, whatever. Discussed it as we do, and I said, right, do you know what? I'm gonna send the socials and everything, and I'm also gonna send the social media, Instagram, of the competition, like the people that she won the competition for and whatever. We'll get into that. I sent it all, and I at everybody, and then I sent it
Did you
to.
hear what I just said? Oh, did you hear what I just said? I said, because she's explaining herself. I'm telling her when we received the press back. I'm saying to her, check the group.
No, and you know, I'm
Check the
checking the
group.
group. I'm over checking the group because it was sent a week in advance.
So
I
basically,
don't
what you're
know
proving to me is you
received.
can't be accountable to be correct.
Yes,
be
I
accountable.
can.
Check.
What did you
Just
receive
check.
wrong?
Just check.
What did you not
You're
receive?
arguing, but you're not checking.
No, because I don't need to. Because I know
You're
when I
being
sent
wrong
it.
and strong. Check. If I'm wrong, I can put my hands up. I have no problem doing that. You're arguing a point with no facts.
No, I'm gonna.
No, this is good. This is good. This is good. I don't even know.
When did you send the press pack?
Okay. Sunday, the 23rd of October. Yeah.
With everything.
Her business IG, her website, her personal IG. Hold on.
Go pause it.
Hold on.
Pause it. Pause your phone. 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 No, pause
You
your
do
phone.
it with a laugh.
What's going on here? So I don't know what.
I was gonna check the date.
I don't know what was
I was
sent
gonna check the date.
on the day. I'm sure that says Sunday the 23rd of
in that little
October.
space of time.
What day did we go to the Black Business Show?
22nd.
Right, and then the 23rd
Okay, you're right.
in the group.
That's fine. I apologize.
I don't know.
So, Reese, that means you didn't check the group to read until the day.
I did
then.
send it to Reese personally as well, though.
That's why I said send it to the group. Everyone knows I don't look at the group. That's why I said send to everyone personally, because not everyone checks the group.
I at you, lot,
And I
though.
also just said sorry. So,
Thank you. I accept your apology.
Did
You
Zay
know,
would put his hand up if he was wrong?
we can all be wrong and strong, as Reese said I was, but you know, I'm not ever gonna get into that. Let's get into why we're it. Bomber Club! Bomber Club!
Do you know the bit that I'm finding funny in that, yeah? You see, if Katie is ever wrong, I'm never going to be the I told you so person.
Right.
Never the I told you so person.
Reese, how are you?
It's been a shitty week, but we move. But go on, Katie.
So,
Sometimes people, y'all forget. Someone's got to say, dude, how are you, by the way?
Katie spends too much time talking about herself. It's fine. Continue.
you moved straight on to Tavonya. What are you talking about after me?
No, generally.
You
We're
asked
talking
her how
about generally.
Then it got into all of this.
We didn't even talk about
Oh,
me.
go on.
Into all of this.
Tavonya, continue.
So we went to the Black Business Show on Saturday, the 22nd of October, and it was obviously just during still like Black Business Month, Black History Month, and things like that. So it was obviously something that I've never been to. I don't obviously have my own business, but I have a lot of friends that do have their own businesses, Tavonya being one of them. And it was a nice experience to come and like help out. Obviously, since she's started her business, a year and a bit now, supporting, helping it get off the ground and things like that. And obviously you do see how hard like these people and your friends work. And it's I don't know, for me, it's just like it was going there and stuff. I did actually feel inspired. There was a couple of people there that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple of people there who I knew had their business and stuff like that. And obviously, as you lot know, Philippa was there. Tavonia's Philippa's sister. So off the back of that, it was obviously Black History Month and things like that. And I believe in, you know, supporting and bigging up my people, them. Black women in business as well. All of
We
that.
love black women in business.
Right.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, no, seriously, it was obviously a really fun experience. I loved it. You can keep going on about how long my intro is, but do you know what? Do you know what?
A minute 30.
Do you know what?
It's a minute 30, bro.
Do you know what? I have a lot to explain, and I'm just saying off the back of it because I'm going to let Tavonya talk in a minute.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what that was the...
I'm just coming from my side of things, how I
No one cares.
experienc's it. Yeah, we do though, because
Special
Tavonya's
guest.
really smiling and
Tavonya's
she's really
business,
liking
that's
it.
what I wanna hear about,
But
go
she's
on.
really smiling and she's really liking it. But anyways, no, it was obviously a good experience. But what I wanted to do is obviously bring Tov on, get her to share her experience, but then also talk about her business and how it's gone for her. I'm gonna shut up now because you know there's a cretin in the corner just not letting me say anything. So yeah, no, this is Tavonya.
Right, so what would you like to know?
First of all,
how your business started, like,
and the name and
No, let's
yeah,
start
just
with
walk us,
name.
yeah,
And what is
walk us
your
through, yeah,
business?
please.
Okay, so my business is named after my son and I. So it's called Zey&Mama. We specialise in baby weaning
Mama.
and toddler tableware.
don't.
It's specifically made out of silicone because silicone is the way forward in terms of, I guess, sustainable
Child-friendly?
materials. Yeah, so child-friendly, but most importantly, sustainable. It's durable, recyclable, all the things that you need in a product that is good for the planet versus plastic. Plastic is no good, guys. It has so much toxins, harmful byproducts. It's full of nasty. So silicone is the way to go. Food grade silicone in particular is the way to go. But it was inspired by my son. When you have a child, you start researching, like even from before, like you give birth, like you're just researching, like what can I give my child? What's good? What's bad? Like you turn into human encyclopedia by the end of it's time to give birth, right? And I found out that like plastic was no good. So when I had my son, I like started giving him, when I started weaning him, I made sure I was using silicone stuff. And then I realised like a lot of people around me didn't know about the benefits of like silicone versus plastic. So I was like, right, I'm going to start a business. And that's it. I feel like I have an entrepreneurial spirit. So I've had like a couple other businesses along the way.
You want the experience where you've tried things before and you kind of...
Yeah. And I feel like I don't know, I'm just that person. Like, Philippa gets tired of me. Like, I'll see an idea, I'm like, I'm going to start a business. And she's like, oh my gosh, Tavonya, you're going to start a business. You ain't got time to start
Another
business.
one. Oh, God.
Big up Champion Bones,
Yeah,
yeah?
Kate.
Yes.
Yeah, look, Kate is saying Champion Bows. I used to make bows, right?
Pardon, you make what?
Bows, hair bows.
Oh, bows. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
She used
I
to have us
started
in
it
the
when I
sweatshop.
was, Kay used to work in a sweatshop. I started it when I was 16.
Like Jojo Siwa with like bows.
Yeah,
Like
kind
the
of like
bows
that.
bows.
Yeah, kind of
We
like
used to
that.
cheerleading, innit? And then
Listen.
Tavonya made them for like cheer companies and like our company as well. So she made bows for our teams and stuff. And yeah, it's a good
Bow
business.
company, I love it.
Yeah, I went to I was 16. I went to
It's
the
big in
Prince's
the cheer and
Trust,
dance,
and the
right?
Prince's Trust gave me a little loan to start the business and stuff. And that was when I was 16. So from a young age, I've always like just had that kind of entrepreneurial spirit. So yeah, so I had my son, and I said I'm going to start this business simply because there was a lot of people around me that like weren't really aware of this kind of product.
Yeah. I mean, because even when you said silicone, I even thought, oh,
Food grade silicone in particular.
why is food grade silicone very important? Because you seem to have highlighted it like
Better yet,
to separate
why
it
is
from
plastic? Tell them how
regular
much
silicone.
plastic we take in. Why is plastic
Okay,
so
so
bad?
Yeah, give us some science.
Yeah.
okay, some
some
science. Well,
really cool as
you
well.
take in about like a credit card a week of plastic. Did you know that?
So the amount of plastic you intake is.
I try
credit card.
I try not to eat so much plastic.
But you'll be surprised like
realise we
where
do.
you're consuming the plastic from, right?
Ah, okay.
The plastic is in the air. Yeah, there's so many like everything is made of plastic these days. So when it ends up in a landfill or it ends up in like our water, or it all trickles out in some way, shape,
Yeah.
or form into something that we may be using, etc. So yeah, it's too much plastic. It's not good.
They need to start making silicone.
Plastic
Tupperware.
pollution is real. I feel like there's a lot of things that people don't know in terms of like plastic pollution and how bad it is for the environment, etc.
Yeah.
And we could go on forever. But it's important that obviously everyone tries to do their bit for the planet.
So basically, are you telling us you're going to become like those just oil people who are there?
No, I'm not, you know.
And just
I'm
flinging
not.
plastic at
Yeah,
people.
no, I'm not. And I'm not going to
Just
be.
flinging hot plastic at people.
Going into Madame
Like-
Tussauds
No,
and throwing cake
I'm
on
not one of them
Charles.
ones that is going to glue myself to the road and all that. It's not for me. That's not for me. For me, it's about educating
they might
and
fi-
sharing the
You're not white.
knowledge.
They might fist you up when you're outside.
Knowledge, sharing the knowledge with people. Yeah, those people, like, I respect them
You're not
because
retiring with
they're
money,
passionate
yeah.
about, you know, about
yeah.
what they're.
They are.
But yeah, it's not. It is that deep, but I'm just not going to glue myself to
So,
something.
what
At
are
least
your
with silicone glue.
what are your
Hey.
what are your business goals? Like what are you speaking into existence for? What you want your business to accomplish in the foreseeable future? And what would you say is like the end goal if you had your own way with your business?
That was a meaty question. I guess for me, ultimately, I have a day job. I have a 9 to 5, right? And I guess part of what fueled me to start this business ultimately was my son, but for a few reasons, right? Because I wanted to make sure that what he was eating and drinking from was safe, but equally, I want to, create generational wealth. I want to have financial freedom. So you got to have these extra, I guess, side hustles, as people would call them. And like when I talk about financial freedom, I'm not trying to be rich. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not the goal. I feel like ultimately, if my son asks me for something, I don't want to have to say,
Comfortable.
you have to wait for Christmas or you have to wait for your birthday. If he asks for something, I want to be able to provide it for him within reason. Like he's not going to be spoiled or anything. And then generational wealth, like Xavier, you're gonna pack them packages, Listen, I got video. Visit my Instagram.
No.
He'd be packing those boxes.
He's already started packing. No, it's funny.
But
funny.
ultimately, as well, like entrepreneurship is not for everyone, right? But it does give you an opportunity to have a little bit of choice in terms of how you make your money if it is successful. So ultimately, this is something for Xavier. Like, not necessarily, he doesn't have to work at the business, but it gives him an insight into entrepreneurship. And that way he could potentially go and then start his own business because
Start
he's
his
seen
own.
mummy do it and he's seen, and I've made the mistakes or whatever, and he can learn from that. So I guess this is all about my son in all shapes and forms, if that makes sense. So him being healthy and eating from the right things and ultimately setting him up with the right tools to make him a great person in life.
Do you think you emphasize on your business being a black business, or is it the fact that you have a business, you just happen to be black?
I have a
good
business and I
question.
just happen to be black. I don't think I don't feel like, for instance, like in terms of your question, I don't think I make a point of like if I'm speaking to people or like say through emails and stuff like that, like I don't make it a point to highlight that I'm a black business, but where there is an opportunity to champion black women in business, I do try to do that, because that's important, because not like there are loads of women and black women in business, but I feel like our stories aren't shared, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Our stories aren't shared. So where I have the opportunity to share, hence why I'm like, yeah, I want to come on this pod. Yeah, I'm all for it.
I was going to say as well, I guess not everybody knows, apart from like us that are here, but tell everyone about like maybe like the competition that you won, how you came about it. And then obviously when you did go on the show, like the Black Business Show, how did that feel and how was that experience for you?
So one night I was on Instagram, it must have been about 11 p.m. And I saw,
Scrolling
you know,
hours.
sometimes it comes on like your sponsor. I think it was like a sponsored post maybe. And it basically was this company called Hustle&Heels. You can at them at HHLLUK. I hope I've got that right.
Nice question. Did it have
Yeah.
a picture of Terrence Howard in the corner? As the Avi?
No.
Okay, cool. Continue.
No.
Different-
Yeah, so I
different
saw
one.
this competition on Instagram.
Oh, Lord.
And I was like, what the hell? I might... guys, listen.
We're listening.
Stop
Sorry.
laughing,
If
right?
if you understand the reference of what you
Concentrate.
said, we're listening.
Sound like your mom.
So, I was saying that I saw this competition on Instagram.
Hard out
Try
here
it.
for a pimp.
Cackling back there.
When you're trying to get this money for the
you
rent.
three or you
You
four,
want
when
the
Mark's here,
trick,
you
get
aren't a
them.
serious lot.
Nah, do you know
We're
what?
talking about a serious topic
Do
here,
you know
guys.
what it is?
Right?
It's,
Focus.
these are fools. What are you rolling up paper, tissue paper?
No, can I just clean my glasses? I do
Right,
it every
I'm
week.
going to carry on.
You should.
Right?
As you should.
listening.
Please don't
Right,
let her
I'm
disturb
going to
you.
carry
Don't
on.
do it
I just wanted to
me.
know when you said the name, if you understood my reference. That's what, but you didn't. That's why he started laughing. But continue.
Okay, it went over my head because I still don't know what you guys are
Terrence
talking
Howard.
about.
Terrence Howard in a movie called
Yeah, I
Hustle
heard
and
that.
Flow.
That was cold-blooded.
Okay,
Everyone wants to
right,
hear
I'm with you now.
she said
Okay, but it went over my head.
concentrate.
No, everyone wants to hear it. No one wants to hear that.
So, guys, as I was saying, I was scrolling Instagram, saw this competition. I said, I'm going to apply. Long and short, I applied, and then my phone died. And I was like, forget this. This is just long. And then I plugged the phone in, and I was like, why not? Let me go back on it. I went back on it, and lo and behold, all my stuff that I'd entered into the application was still there. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll just do the last bit. Sent it off. Can't remember the exact date, but the time frame was really short. I feel like it was like 2 days after I got an email to say that I was a semi-finalist, but I hadn't really checked my emails. I completely forgot about it.
You got good friends. Vivian Katie sent it to us. I didn't even know who the hell you were. I just voted. But on default.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But, yeah, so at first I became a semi-finalist, and then you had to send in all this stuff. Like you had to send in a video, a pitch video, some images, and a few
Did you pay it in
bits.
your company before people tried to teach your idea?
Did I what?
Did you pay it in your company?
No, I haven't.
Do that ASAP.
Yep, and a few things I also need to do. But yes, so I became a semi-finalist and I had to submit all this stuff. And it was 8:30. Xavier was in the bath again. Couple minutes that I've got scrolling through my phone, saw the emails. Like shit, like this is due tomorrow 9 o'clock. How am I gonna get it done?
Yeah, but put your pin to bed and just.
No, I was
No,
stressed
she
because
did.
I was like, "Is this?" But you know what's so funny? I remember texting my best friend, and I said to her, well, both of them, I said, "Guys, like, oh, I've got through. Look at this, but I've got to send all this." And they were like, "Oh, like, are you gonna get it done?" I said, "Do you know who I am? I'm gonna get that done. Like that. Yes, I'm gonna get that done. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna let opportunity like that pass me. If it means I've got to be up to 3 o'clock or whatever time it is, I'm gonna
What
get it
time
done."
is you up? Because when you messaged me, I was like,
It
"Tavonya."
wasn't too late, to be fair. It was about 11, I
Why are
think.
you no, but you're never awake. I'm like, Tavonya, what do you want and why are you awake
No,
at
it
this
was
time?
about 11 that I'd finally got it done. But I don't know what I was up doing because I remember messaging you and saying, "Look at the video, do you think it's all right?" But by
thought
this
you were
point, it's
just
already
making
sent off
sure.
anyway. So what am I saying now?
In the competition.
Yeah,
I
so
guess.
submitted everything, and then the next stage was for the public to vote for the business that they would want to win a stand at the Black Business Show. It was a great opportunity simply because the stand, like, it was free. Like, I didn't have to pay for anything. And for me, it was a great opportunity to, I guess, give my business a platform to an audience that I would love to meet. Like, I want my black people to see that I exist, and also give them the education and knowledge in terms of like plastic versus silicone, etc. So they voted for me. I won, and I was off to the Black Business Show, and Coco was helping me. It was great. And I guess in summary, being at the Black Business Show was a few things. It was inspirational. It was great to be around other black people and people that are championing black people in business.
Do you think it matters?
Does it matter?
Do you think it matters?
Does what matter?
For example,
championing.
Yeah, because ultimately, listen, it depends. Like, I can be around other people of whatever background, and if you want to see people win, you want to see people win. At the end of the day, I think there's been such a big, oh my God, black business, and we must support black business. Listen, people are going to support what they want to support at the end of the day. Like, you've seen people do racial shit or weird shit, and people will still support them regardless because they like what they like. I don't think it makes a difference whether it's black or not. I just think it's just like a blanket term that has started to be used because you don't want to be.
I think it does matter when you go to something like that, and you see.
But I'm talking about generally, like, remove yourself from that situation, yeah? There's many a black business.
There is loads, and me personally, I wouldn't support a black business just because they're black. But if I think, do you know what, this is a good business,
so, that's what I was going to ask. So what's the difference of it being at the what's it called, the Black
Business Show?
The Black Business Show, and it being, because ultimately there
Not
could be
everyone's business is great. It's just people if they want to pay for it.
But I'm saying, for example, there could be a plethora of businesses that were at the Black Business Show, and I mean, yeah, you could be like, oh my God, it's my people. It's great to see black people being affluent and rah and the rest. But
it's nice to celebrate them, so you'll give them a follow on Instagram and stuff maybe. But like, I went to a guy that I happen, me and Phil happens to know that I know as well. He has a perfume, like,
it smells
business,
so good.
but
Please,
it is
if
really
you
good.
can put the link in the comments or whatever you guys do.
It is
in the description.
really good, and I wouldn't
amazing.
just say this. I was like, yeah, and his scent is in John Lewis. I was like, I understand why. Things like that, I'm like, I understand why. Like Tov's business, yeah, I get it. There's another girl that Phil knows, and she has her own hair products.
But ultimately, isn't the point of these type of businesses, regardless, you're more likely to kind of get closer to these businesses if it makes sense to you. So if you're talking about, okay, hair products, okay, cool. The hair products are going to make sense to you.
Do you know what it is? Pause. I'm just going to stop you just so I can get in what I wanted to say. The show is amazing for a few reasons, right? As a consumer, when you go there are some things that you didn't even know exists.
Yeah.
There are some things that I guess maybe a white person owns.
Culturally specific.
Culturally specific?
There are a lot of... I was just going to say, just to try and tag on to what you're saying, which is there are a lot of businesses and things that our own community don't know that we are creating basically for them, but then without
like skin plasters.
Yeah, but without things like the Black Business Show to show that these things exist, we, the community, therefore, won't know.
And equally, it doesn't need to be for a black person. Like, my brand isn't made for black people. It's made for everyone, but I just happen to be a black person behind it. So that's what I was saying about the show being great in many lengths, simply because for the consumer, they get to see the face behind the brand, and oh wow, she makes plates and bowls and bibs and all kinds of stuff. I didn't know black people do that. That is amazing for the little young black girl that's like, oh, I want to start a business.
I hate that rhetoric.
What?
I hate that rhetoric. I always hate that rhetoric of, oh yeah, we need to have more people in police's paper to show that you can do that. But you can do that. No one's stopping you from doing that. Like, I think I always bring this back to where we go back to like the early, like the George Floyd thing and things before, where people do this fake front of it being like, oh, if we do this well and we generate this for our people, it means other people are going to do that. No, people are going to do what they're going to do anyway.
I don't personally think that. That's what I was saying, in the sense of when you're thinking, oh, do you think that's what was you saying? Do you think it's that's like the most important. I don't think it's the most important because she's a black business. It's another, to me, it's more small businesses. But the fact that they're black owned is just another bonus.
I don't think it's a bonus.
I think it's a bonus because
It
not
depends
because
on
it's
what
black
kind of
owned, but a lot
person
of
you
people
are.
sit there and
There
behave
you go.
like.
That's
It depends on
thank
what
you.
kind of
That's
person.
what I wanted
Do
to
you know
get
what
to.
as well? A lot of people think that, I don't know why, that black
I know
people
amazing
don't support
businesses.
each other as
I know
well.
amazing businesses that have shit customer services, but people like what they provide, so people still go back.
Yeah.
When I go to if you use something like a hair shop, yeah, something that every black person uses, right? Yeah. If you look at the hair shop business as a whole, they are owned by what background?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Asians. And when
that's
you go
what-
and
that's
when you go
another
and when
thing.
you go into the shop and you go into Asian shops, the reason why that business does well isn't because they have all the products in which we need. Because all the products, if you go through the history, they're owned by white people, ECT and the rest.
Yeah.
The reason why their shop, or they can have 2 or 3 shops in the same area and why they do well, is every person in that shop knows the length of hair, the type of hair, the tone, the hair products.
Who? Sorry.
The tone
when
of-
you go into those shops.
Yeah, the ones
No,
in my
they
area.
don't.
In my area, they listen.
It depends because
if I go to one in Brixton-
some shops don't know, but
if
if
I-
I'm going to one in Tottenham, not even gonna lie, the shop that I go to in Grays, they know their shit.
If I go to one in any of the ones in Brixton,
them, though, I don't
the
know.
one by my
But
house
not
or
being funny
whatever,
anything,
they
it
know
also
their
makes
products.
sense, right? Because if you're going to sell to someone, you have to be
know.
able to
Plus, they've
explain
been
to
in
them.
that business a lot of the time. That's why you have a lot of Asian people that own black hair shops because a number of
You
them
know
have
your
been in
target
that
market.
business.
Yeah.
They know their market and they've been in that business for ages. So I guess it's
That's one of my biggest issues with black business, with the rhetoric of when people talk about, oh yeah, we must support black business. The issue isn't supporting black business. It's the fact of, in people pushing their product, they themselves, well, what Tov said today, if I had a child, I would buy from Tov. Because Tov has done the research
Yeah.
to be able to break down why her business is better than why what she does isn't detrimental to your child. Because ultimately,
Yeah.
you want to make sure, regardless of pollution and everything going on, you want to make sure that when you're feeding your child and the utensils or the bulbs or whatever you're using to give to your child, it's to the benefit of them, not the detriment of them.
Yeah.
So,
Get twisted.
for what she's saying makes
Top was
sense.
white and she done the same business. On the flip side,
I don't care
I
about your
would-
color when it comes to
no,
business,
I
bro.
would.
But do you know what we need to understand? Do you know when people say about supporting black businesses? It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
But supporting black business is also to equally help us create generational wealth for our community. So that's why we want to keep the pound within ourselves. But that is important. That is important for us.
It's important, but our community doesn't. And this will go into a topic that I wanted to discuss later on. Our community in itself doesn't care to do that. We have to stop. We have to stop having this
This is the thing I wanted
marginalistic,
to get at as well.
homogenous view that all skin folk are kinfolk. Listen, it
Why
doesn't
do you
mean
think
that.
our community doesn't care to
There are some people that they don't.
It's like.
make sure you speak for yourself, you know?
No, we're talking about you don't know. Oh, speak generally, because ultimately
No, I
you're
am.
speaking generally. It's not
It's
speak for yourself.
like-
Because
it's like-
you speak for yourself. We're talking about generally of what currently exists.
Oh God.
So generally you think that people,
It's
our
like
people, do not
we
care.
wa-
They don't.
No. We want it.
In
Yes.
theory,
In theory, yes. Are we willing to put our hands together and make it happen? No.
But this is why stuff like
That's
the
why
UK
I
Black
was
Business
saying-
Show is important.
Right. And
Because
this
it
was the
gives
point
people
I
an
was trying to make as
opportunity
well,
to go and
because
be
there are.
inspired
That's
and
why I was
see
saying
what
about championing
people
as well.
in our community are doing.
Agreed. But
you're still
how
catering
many
to
black
just.
business shows have we had?
But thank
And
you,
we're-
thank
and
you,
still
thank you,
But we have
thank
to
you,
stop-
hands
thank
together
you,
to a point where
thank
there
you.
is
But there
Thank
isn't
you.
a lot
It's not
of
gonna happen
people that
overnight.
do that,
There is
and there
a
isn't.
But we're not talking about overnight. We're talking,
No,
for
we're
example,
talking
But I'm saying there isn't a lot of people that do go and support and like, oh yeah, that's why I was saying, yeah, I'm going to support the hell out of that. And that's what I was saying. To me, it's a bonus that it's black owned because me and yes, Tov's my friend, whatever and stuff like that.
I'm your sister, girl. I'm your sister.
Okay, sorry, she's my sister. But apart from that, yeah, I am going to plug the hell out of it because for me, it's important.
I honestly believe
But on the
if
same
your business
level,
if your business is correct, it will do it. I will use
I do think it's
I will
also-
use an example of someone that I know very well, and Mark knows as well. Yeah, my friend Michael Harper. Michael
Is your friend
Harper.
with the
I
clothes
love
brand?
him.
Yeah,
He
see?
was the first.
There you go.
He was the first like
Is this the one with the clothing
wait,
brand?
what am I trying
No.
to say?
No.
The first thing I bought for my son. So I was pregnant with my son, and he had
The ABC books.
Oh.
yeah, he
There
had
you
the
go.
black
Yes,
ABC
yes.
book, and he had the black flashcards.
Yes.
And I was like,
They are so
I am
good.
gonna buy those for my
So
son.
then-
And Xavier wasn't even
The
here.
reason why I use Harper as an example, Harper's business does the talking.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do the extras. I met when I used to work in my first company. I met Harper there. Harper, no matter what, does everything he does in his normal life through work, and then when he finishes that, just like what you do, he works on his business. Whether it's the ABC book, which is culturally equivalent, whether it's the flashcards, whether it's the books, regardless. Let's be clear. Yes, it caters to black people, but he also does other things that cater to everyone.
Yeah.
There is no emphasis on it being Michael Harper, black business. And the problem is, and I'm telling you, the general thing of why I love what he does is, it's the obsession is the wrong word. It's the concentration of what he does and the product he puts out. Every time one of my friends has kids, I go to Harper. Not because he's my friend, right, it's but because what he does makes sense, right, Ultimately, people can have businesses and I go, you're cool, you're my friend, and I might buy it once, but why am I going to come back?
Yeah.
Being black is not enough for me to buy from you.
And that is a very good point as well.
But this is why, like for instance, the company Hustle&Heels that I won the competition. This is why it's important that there are
Terrence
companies like that are out there that give people the tools to start businesses or how to, I guess, scale your business, etc. So that company in itself is also a business that helps black businesses thrive. So it all, everything is, I guess, interconnected.
And I think the same for
in
Zan as
some
well.
kind of way.
Obviously, it's different. Like Zan's not black, but to me, her business,
Person of colour, of course.
her business makes sense to me, regardless. And like you were saying, no, it's not just because she's my friend. Yeah, I'm gonna help, promote in whatever way she wants me to. But why am I gonna keep buying from her business? Is literally because she has what I want, and like it's a good product for me to have. And I would say the same for Tov. When I have kids, or when I've got my cousin's got a baby on the way, when she has her baby, like things like that, that's the first thing I'm going to think of, because not only have I just looked at her business, I've studied it, I've had to help kind of, sell it, or just help explain to other people what the business is about, and then learning about it myself. I'm like, shit, I need silicone Tupperware. To that point, I'm like, I should use this for our kids.
Glass is good, guys.
That's what was it? Wood, not what wood was it? Bamboo, and things like that. So it's gonna help me think that way as well, and that's why I just say it just so happens to be a bonus that the business is black owned, but I don't always want my focus to be strictly on that. But the fact that she went, obviously it was Black History Month, she went to the Black Business Show and all of this, it just all ties into one. And we're women, so I'm going to champion women.
Really?
Black women.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, all of that shit.
I don't believe women actually champion women, but that's a conversation for another
You
day.
don't
Yeah,
think what?
No, but
Women
they
should
don't.
champion
No,
But
women?
not
that's
all
not what I
women
said.
do.
I
But
said-
that's the
I
thing.
don't believe when women
But this
talk
is the
about
thing I'm
champion
going on
women, they
about.
really mean
Not
it.
all
It's a
black
lie.
people champion
I
each
think
No,
it's a
other.
lie.
but can
And
I
not
just
all
say
black
something?
women
I
champion
think
each
it's a
other.
lie.
Pause.
I think it's a
No,
lie.
I do
I'm
get
going to
it.
speak
I think
because
it's a lie.
Reese is every day speaking. You can't speak
Can I
where
just
you
make a
don't
point
know.
on top of that,
Hold on a
though?
minute, but
What?
how can you say?
Can I make a point on
How
top of
can
that?
you say
She
that you
disagreed.
don't know?
She
No,
just- I didn't
no,
say
but that's
that.
what I'm
She
saying.
just
Not
agreed.
all, and I'm saying not all
She
because
just
it happens.
agreed.
There are black people that don't, and this
Black
is why
women
I'm
don't
saying it's
support black
important.
women, bro.
Black
Like,
people
But that-
sometimes
guys,
in
guys,
public
can I just say
spaces they do
something?
loudly. In
It
true
often
fact,
But
they
I'm
don't.
saying some black women don't. I can't say
Yeah.
that for my friendship circle or my close circle of people, but on the outside, they don't. For names I'm not even going to name them
Men
that
are
you
more
are aware
supportive
of.
of men than women
They
are of
really
women.
don't.
It depends on what circles you're in and who you associate. with.
Generally, you
Our-
keep talking
our
about your
circle
family.
isn't like that.
Generally,
But I can't.
you keep
speak,
personalizing.
No, but
We
hold on
keep
a
saying
minute.
generally. If
I
you
can't-
in public
No, I
spaces,
can't speak
men
for-
are more
I can't
supportive
speak
of
for-
men than women are of women. In public spaces, it's not. You can look. You can look. Think about it. Think about everything you see. Men are a lot more, even if it's fake love, right? Yeah, or whatever it is. Men are optically more supportive of men than women are of women.
In this day and age, you probably do have a point. It's not all.
I'm not
but
saying me.
It's not all.
It's easy for you to say in my circle. That's great because that's your circle, and they should be. Because if it wasn't, it would be strange.
But
in
then
my
that's-
circle,
that's
I can say the same thing.
But that's
but
all
we're
what
talking
we
about
know when
what
you think about it.
There you
because-
go. If you're talking about in general, because you
Okay,
you
but
are
can
not
I-
the
can I
whole
ask-
being of everyone.
Can I ask where we get this generalization from? Like
What currently exists?
Like yeah, how do we know this? Like, what are you basing this generalization on? On people that you speak to, or what is this?
Generalizations are generally.
Veggies.
Words, it's
Generalizations are generally steeped in whether you want to call it a social knowledge, a knowledge
construct,
of
yeah.
just
People.
of just living in your own existence, of knowing these things.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. It's based on experience somewhat, right? Exactly. So I can't agree and say that I think that women don't support
You're
other
lucky
women.
to have had, and it's not
Because
even just
never
a tight
in my
circle,
life have I ever
a bigger
experienced like
range of people.
women trying to like bring me down, or like, for instance, this Hustle&Heels group that I'm now like part of, it's all black women, and like we've made this great, I guess, entrepreneurship friendship.
Entrepreneurial friendship, yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing because they're black women and we just all cheer each other on, and like
That's what I'm saying.
and
You're lucky to be part
in
of the
starting
community
the
that
business,
like
I've
that.
never had. Do you know what though? I feel like there's this. I don't know if stigma is the right word, but I feel like there's a stigma that black people aren't
It is a stigma.
welcoming to conversation or offering help. Like, am I mistaken? Because I feel like if you are, like, for instance, like, I will talk about this brand called Bamboo, and they are
Kids toys, no?
they're a tableware company
Yeah.
as well, like toddler and baby weaning tableware, similar to mine, but their products are made out of bamboo. And when I started the business, an old manager of mine had sent me a BBC interview that he done.
Okay.
And it just so happened that he works in advertising as well, because that's what I do for my 9 to 5. He works in advertising, and he was a black man. And I was like, wow, he's amazing. Then the interview was talking about he'd done £1 million turnover, this, that, and the third. And I was so inspired. So I looked him up on LinkedIn, and I sent him a message, and I said, hey, I know you don't know me, but can you spare 20 minutes to have a chat with me? I was really inspired by your video, and we have quite a few things in common in terms of our career and our products. You could see me as a competitor, but for me, it's like, if you go to Asda and you go to the bread aisle, right? There's Hovis, Tesco brand, Kingsmill, and they all thrive. Do you know what I mean? So, with that
You
said...
cannot be comparing Tesco bread to Hovis, but I hear you.
But,
Continue.
no, but they all
I
thrive.
hear you. No, I
They
hear
all
you.
thrive.
No.
Way.
I hear you, but you're catering to different markets, so I hear what you're saying. But Hovis best of both can't talk to Tesco.
Then we
But-
all love Hovis.
You get my point. So I sat down with him, and he was just so inspiring. He gave me so many gems and inspiration. The point that I'm trying to make
Question.
is that,
Love that song,
Question
innit?
quickly. Do you think, and it's not me being cynical, because business is business, yeah? And I understand what
I got a
our
question
community
for you.
is like, yeah, when I do this, because I don't think there's such thing as a black community, right, yeah? Do you think if you two, Bamboo, and your business were were toe to toe on the same line, he's willing to even have that conversation with you?
do you know what? Obviously, I've only spoken to him once, but he seemed very genuine. So potentially, but coming from a business perspective, there's a conflict of interest here. Like, it wouldn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? Like,
But is-
you're my main
but is it not-
competitor.
but is it
I'm
not
not going
only
to
a
spill my secrets to you.
Is it only? But is it not more of a conflict of interest if you are more like ultimately he's further down the line business wise than you are, because obviously he's in shops and ECT and the rest, and your business is somewhat of a startup at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, it becomes conflict of interest when you two
On
are.
the same level, do you
There
think?
you go.
Think it into
That's
existence, girl.
yeah.
But then
That's
it-
why I said.
yeah, I get
That's
it.
why I said when you think about business as a whole, we're not talking about billionaires. Where billionaires ultimately know their money comes from manual labor anyway. Like ultimately, I'm gonna make money. You're gonna make money. Fine, right? Yeah. ECT and the rest. The only people really competing for the top spots of billionaires are like Elon, Bezos, and that pussyo who owns Microsoft. Right? Yeah.
What's his name?
He's a pussyo. Right? Yeah.
Bill.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
So
In my head, I just
and even then, remember they're all in. as billionaires, they're all in 3 different types of business.
Yeah.
Right, yeah? If you're both in the same type of business, human nature, regardless of what Tov feels about, okay, cool, yeah, conflict of interest. Tov, based on her personality, to me, is more like, I'm still willing to have a conversation.
100%.
Right, yeah? But the general person in business, especially if you're on the same market,
Is not.
Nike ain't sitting down with Adidas, bro.
Yeah, but then it makes sense because ultimately it's about sales, right? I can't give you my secrets.
Nike know they
for
make
you
more
to
money than
then
Adidas.
surpass me. Do you know what I mean? So I get it to a certain extent. Do you know what I mean? And it makes sense. And I feel that it's okay, and people should be comfortable with people not wanting to share knowledge if we are toe to toe and competing for the same consumer. It makes sense. But ultimately, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't sit down with someone and still have a conversation about something that they're finding challenging because you've had a similar experience. So it's
would
not
be the
always
best person
about
to speak
spilling
to.
secrets. It's about, do you know what? Like, I'm having this issue here. How did you solve it?
Shared experience.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
learning through shared experience.
Exactly. So you can still sit down with
I just think
your
that conversation
own,
only
they'll share with
happens
you.
now because you're not in the same linear path at the moment.
Let's see.
Shifting on
Let's
from
see.
that.
I'll come back one
What did you
day
have to
in the
say?
near future, hopefully, and I can say, yep, me and Joel, that's his name, we still kick in.
I got a question to ask.
Oh, go on. I
So-
thought O did, but O's just looking into space.
As we're talking about black people as a whole, obviously this week you've
Thinking about something.
this week we've seen the death of the rapper Takeoff from Migos, and you know this?
Are you
Yeah,
joking me?
Paused. Yeah, paused. And Davido's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
that Davido's son, that one really touched
Both of
me.
them, they
Like,
well,
The second one
they
pissed me
both.
off. The second one pissed me off.
The first one touched me, and the second one.
The second
rattled me.
second
what's
one.
the first one and what's the second one, guys?
Takeoff's the
Takeoff.
first one. The second one pissed me off.
The whole. I didn't read too.
It's too
deep
early
into
for me
that
to even put
story.
my comment on to the second one about the little boy in the.
I haven't because
and
I
the
haven't
water.
read it deep, so I don't even want to comment on
the
that.
second one pissed me off, but
But it didn't seem like.
I'm going to a tweet from Zey&Mama, yeah,
Oof.
and it was, we need to have a serious conversation about what hip hop cultures in capital letters, and I roll my eyes every time I see culture and community in black people, because there has to come a point where people realize there's no such thing.
I don't think
Right,
there is
yeah.
really
There is
a
no-
hip hop culture like
There is a
that.
hip hop culture.
What?
There's a hip hop culture. There's
Would
been a
you
hip
say
hop
there's
culture.
no such thing of what?
There's no such thing as a community, there's no black community, and there is no black culture, and there's no black culture. As in, if you're talking about your culture as in being Caribbean and that, but as in,
Why would you say there's no?
I'm
black
gonna finish this and
community?
I'll finish this
Okay.
and I'll explain it. Right, yeah, has become what hip hop culture has become.
I don't
Because
think there
ain't
is
no
much of
way
it.
there should be this amount of rappers being murdered. Tell me another genre where the artists are being murdered at this rate. Now, to answer your question, the reason why I say there's no community, because community means that people are together. There's
That's
a
what I
level
meant.
of
What did I say?
togetherness.
There's no I'm so
Right,
dumb. I
yeah.
meant the
You
other
have
one.
there's culture, but the culture that currently exists is
But there isn't no
black on black.
because everyone would look after or look out for their own. And
Yeah,
it's kind of
there
like
you go.
That's not happening.
the culture.
And that's the whole reason this has
the
happened.
community in itself
And it's
is
upset me
black
bad.
people fearing black people, i.e., why things like this keep happening. Right, yeah.
I don't know if I'm like.
You have to understand,
optimist.
regardless
I
of
feel like
money, regardless
you
of
are a bit. You might be a bit in this sense, and it's not a bad thing to be an optimist.
you can only name what you see now. Regardless of
Because
money, these
can
people.
I just say,
Go
you
on.
see, we often talk about our community and our culture, but the reason why we talk about it is because that's what we know. Yeah, I can't speak for the problems that white people might face or the issues that they have in their community. We almost have this assumption that when we speak of white people, we're thinking of white affluent people that have all grown up rich, etc. There are white people that come from communities that ain't great and
Struggling.
had struggles.
We spoke about this on the pod before.
Yeah.
A person in London who lives in a council block can't say their life is harder than someone that lives in Blackpool or Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Because the diaspora of it is that when you live out of London, and most people from London have never left London.
Left London to live out of London.
And listen, I grew up, there's elements of me that grew up in Birmingham and Manchester. When you go to like the poor of the poor areas, yeah, when I tell you, especially like, as I said this, football towns, Wrexham, Warsaw, like these type of places, Sunderland got relegated from the Premier League and they got relegated from Championship and they're in League One. Those towns, their football club brings in revenue. If your club drops and you don't have the TV rights, you lose jobs. Right, yeah? Manchester, you'll see people on Spice. Never seen people in Spice in London. Just won't. It's rare. But you ultimately have to understand that for a lot of people, they don't understand that because they live in a major city. They think their life is harder than people who live outside of.
Can we just go back to what we were saying about community? So are you saying that black people, we don't have a community, but other races do have a community?
To your point, I'm saying, right, yeah, I agree with you when people talk about the factor of we can only speak on black people. Totally agree, right, yeah. And you can, when people say something, it's based on ignorance of what they don't know, right, yeah. Based on lack of traveling, whether it's traveling the country or traveling to different places around the world, right, yeah. I'm saying there is no such thing as the black community. The word community means togetherness. There is no togetherness within our community. Black people hate black people. Black people wouldn't kill black people if there wasn't a hatred for it. You can't, no matter how much money you give black people, the default settings you have towards another black person is still, for example, when you see a white man, you're not staring in his face.
For example, another generalization as well.
I'm saying this as a black man that you see it. As a black man, when you see a white man, you don't stare in his face, do you?
I think
it's not about your business.
Yeah.
When you see a black man staring at you,
more black males,
You just give him the stare back.
you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, it's like, why are you beefing?
Is that not changing, or is it the areas or the people that you?
That's something
The
that
crime rate is
There's more discussion about it, but
yeah,
is
but
it
there's
changing?
no change around it. I mean, I have a lot of black male friends to talk about. Besides you three, you two and Mark, that discuss it anyway. I have other, obviously, like my boyfriend, like his friends, and my other black male friends that talk about this the same way, in the same light that Reese is. And I get where you're coming from. Obviously, I'm not a man, so I don't really see it like that. With women, I can't say it's not as bad. It might be on a different scale, but it's not like if you're a black male when you go, like a lot of black males have to be cautious because you go to certain places. What I was saying to Reese the other
crime
day,
rate's higher.
And like guys are like staring man down, or because man looks different.
Was it not 2 days ago that Dons in Shepherd's Bush were treating the area like it was a Harry Potter event?
Yes.
And the
flinging
thing is,
fireworks.
with girls,
Police
it's not like it's not really like that with girls as much.
Is this something within, like, is this specific to an age group or adults, right? Because I feel like this is very much young people in terms of like the examples that you just gave.
I wouldn't say young. I wouldn't say it's a young.
And it goes back to what you was talking about last week in terms of I guess young black boys potentially being lawless and not, having any guidance, etc. Can you say in your adult experience,
yes,
when you meet men now,
yes,
they're still
yes,
giving you the stare down and just,
yes.
I can't speak,
and that might even just be because of the generation that you are coming from.
No, but
because do you not think
Tori can laugh because Tori understands this? Me and Tori are the same age.
That's me asking because obviously
me and O ain't the same age. There's a. I'm not gonna beat up your age, but there's an age gap between me and O. The same things exist.
I get that. That's what I'm thinking, and because I don't think I see that around like men around.
Do you want me to be honest?
Our dad's age.
Do you want me to be honest?
I don't see that.
Do you want me to be honest? Right? Yeah. Respectfully, women have a level of ignorance to things like this, yeah, because it's not in. You've never had to acknowledge it.
That's why I'm asking because
I know
we've never had to acknowledge it, but I
unless a man tells you,
speak on it because I've never lived that experience.
But this is why I ask.
Even experiences are just different. I think
we have this. Yeah, that's what I just said. I said women will experience it on a different kind of scale, different level. It wouldn't be to a thing.
Let me go ask you. You see, when you go to clubs, for example, you go to the toilet, right? Yeah, and you're dressed up. And you have that random girl just staring at you, giving you a dirty look. Don't know the girl from Adam.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Now imagine that, yeah, but on a grander scale every time you go outside.
No, I know. I get it. Like I just said to you, I have other black male friends or black males in my life that talk about this. And it's not something that I see that's new to me. It's something that I hear and I see and I'll talk to them about, I'll ask questions because like I said, it's on a different scale for women, but it's not like that. For women, it might just be a thing where there's either a girl that might say, oh babe, you look really nice. There's women that will be like, oh my gosh, this outfit looks, we went out the other day, someone was like, outfit's very nice on you. You don't get that with men. And I'm not saying that you should, but sometimes if you get girls that do that, it won't be as bad. If a girl wants to look you up and down and give you a cut eye or whatever, it's not going to be as bad as it is.
It potentially doesn't feel like a threat. It doesn't feel like...
Yeah, I might just be like, what's she looking at? And then just move. But for men, it's so different. And I get that.
I couldn't ask a man.
But that's why I was asking, do you think it gets to a certain...
Remember, I couldn't ask a black man on a train who was playing all sorts of...
You should have minded your business. No, you should have...
You should have minded your business. You should have done that knowing...
You should have minded your business.
No, but maybe...
No,
you know what?
if it was tough,
you're right. But at the same time, it
Why
should
should it
not
need
be
to be
such
that
a
like
problem
that?
for me to step to him.
of course.
calmly
But then
and
but you also have to understand in that situation. As a black man, right? Yeah, one, you know to mind your business,
gonna tell you to
and
mind your
two,
business.
and two,
This
you
is
know,
making your point.
and two, you know, right? Yeah, all the white people on the train are ignoring him because it's not. It could be bothering them, but they don't want to be involved in the mixy shit, right? Yeah, no one else. I'll say something.
Question, guys. So, what is the solution? What is the solution?
Mind your business.
No, but I mean, you know, you're saying how we don't have like.
But you
the-
say that, but
so.
then how
black
many
community,
black
what is
films
the
and stuff do
solution?
you see? I'm gonna have to use America as an example, where they sit there and American
You talking
women
about
or
soul food?
whatever. Huh?
Talk about soul food.
No, when they're sitting there, they have to educate their child and say, look, you know, keep your head down. Make sure you don't draw too much attention to
But it
yourself.
doesn't work at
and
that.
things
It doesn't
like
work. It doesn't work
no,
at
it
that.
doesn't.
It doesn't
But
work
I'm
at
just
that.
saying, when
You have kids
when
with
Tov's
you have
asking-
kids with phones like these. It doesn't work at that.
No, but I'm saying when Tov's asking, what do you think the solution is? I kind of don't think there really
There's no-
is one.
there's no one
Because you can
solution.
sit and tell your child, make sure you do this, do the right things, and it still won't be the solution to the problem because unprovoked.
There's no need for
Take
the
off.
solution.
Okay, yeah, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
He wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time.
What?
The story. That's not what happened.
No,
yeah,
but I'm
that's-
saying like, no, it's not what happened. But whether the story
you can
true,
die regardless.
But you
the
can.
term is
But
six.
the thing
The term
is,
is
he didn't have a gun. He wasn't.
he was in
in-
crossfire.
That's what I'm
He
saying.
died in crossfire, bro.
No, that's what I'm saying. Caught the crossfire. But to me, it feels like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Bro, there's
Because
6-year-old.
yes, he runs with Quavo and whoever he walks around with, but he's not one of them people that. No, I don't know him, but you can clearly see he's not one of them people that walk around with the guns and like fucking
you know-
opening his mouth to everybody.
But
It doesn't happen.
what you're saying is
people around him have it, and that's also.
No, but I'm saying.
But
he could
what
be
you're
that
saying
one
is
guy
strange.
that keeps his head down, and
No,
I
but
was gonna
that's
say
your
that too.
thank you.
No.
What you're
I
saying
was
is
gonna say that
but
too.
this is what I
KDL.
just
What you're
said.
saying is strange because there could be a little black girl from Compton who's walking down the street and get caught in a crossfire. Regardless, it does. Listen,
But this is what I'm saying.
bullets ain't
Wrong
got
place,
no
wrong time.
wrong. Bullets ain't got no names.
Just
Bullets ain't got no names, bro.
Just
Like
directions.
But yeah, but
at the end of the day, you got to understand this, yeah. In America, you have the right to bear arms. It's that simple, right? Yeah.
you
Most
do.
people don't know how to shoot guns, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, if you're firing in a
someone
melee,
just said they was firing wild and it got caught him. So yeah, it's caught in the crossfire.
what's the correct term? Arsenal rain, right? Yeah. If that's what's happening, anyone's gonna get hit, regardless of you being wrong place, wrong time. Regardless,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. The guy's famous. It's gonna happen. People are gonna care more because they're famous. When we're looking at black people that die in other places that aren't being mediated on, things in Somalia, and ECT and the rest, people don't
care more because
people
obviously,
care
I
more
know
because
of
it's
him.
celebrity. That's all it is. To answer Tavonya's question, and the ultimate thing is, yeah, if we want to better the somewhat community we have, yeah, in my opinion, you go back to basics. You build the foundation of your family, right? Yeah. And you do what you can to protect them, and hopefully, with
That's what
time,
I'm saying.
that
You
everyone
can
has
on-
that.
you
But
can
you have
only
to
hope,
understand,
though.
it's a free for all. Right, yeah. Some of it is economics based, some of it is environmentally based, and some of it is socially based. Right, yeah. Economics. As men, we know, T knows, he knows. Protect yourself at all times. We ain't got a choice. We can't afford to be ignorant. Go into certain areas after a certain time, regardless of an adult or not. Yeah, you gotta know. Anything can happen, you know.
Yeah, and I know that, and I don't have to be a young black male or a black male to know that, but I know that, and I will know to tell my kids that when they grow up.
There's the reason why
my
bare
young
youths move out of
nephews
ends and live
things
in like
that.
live in like Surbiton or live in Lakeside, because ultimately they're like, listen, the
That's
melee's a
why
bit.
I'm
But
bringing
it
up my
goes
kids there,
for
100%.
any, I guess any race, right? Like
No.
people
Not any race.
move
Yeah.
out of certain areas.
People, and a lot of people move into London. It doesn't go for any race. It doesn't. The same things
Well,
don't even
but
apply
it
to every
goes back
race.
to what we were saying about
White people don't hate white
potential
people
white
the way
person
black
growing
men
up
hate.
on an estate. They
No,
also
probably not.
want to
Maybe
move
not.
out of those areas for the same
Yeah,
reason.
but even if you don't grow up in a state and you still live in an inner city area, white men don't hate white men the way black men hate black men. You can't even explain to a black man why they hate black man.
is this
Right, yeah.
like what you're saying? Like
People were shouting out Black Lives Matter, but then we're still.
do
You know what I'm trying to
like-
say?
Yeah,
You
but
see
that's
you-
why when we
you
come
see
to
when
it,
you're
I said
saying
BLM on some level is a bit of bullshit. because
BLM
the same
is bullshit.
that
People
scream
don't
it
believe
and the
it.
same- People, it's just a movement that everybody can be involved in because they're black or whatever. Cool, but It's not
Can you-
actively. It's
People
not a
don't
move- it's
believe
not a
in
movement that's
BLM,
actively
bro.
working.
Can you
I don't think anyway.
elaborate on what you said
course
about
they don't
black
believe in
men
it.
hate? Like, so
Black men hate black men,
okay,
bro.
so do
Like,
you,
on
so
paper.
when you walk on the street, that's how you feel about another black
I don't
man?
feel that way. But
Do
I'm,
you feel
but,
like that also?
But I also have to protect myself in case.
This generalization is based
Can
on
I? No, but you
what?
didn't. You asked me a question and you didn't let me finish it.
Encounters
So you're saying the
in
majority
life,
of black men-
every day.
Even if they don't feel it,
I'm
you
just
receive
trying
it.
to
No?
understand. You're saying the
Every day.
majority of black men,
Not
when
receive it, but
they
you
go
can-
out, they hate other black men.
If I'm only going to have an issue on the road with a black man, a random white man is not going to bother me ever, right? Yeah, regardless. Unless they're drunk or they're homeless or whatever, they're not going to bother me. As a black man, and tell me if I'm wrong,
Those aren't the
I
ones
can be
you're
walking.
keeping an eye on.
Yeah, I can walk
In
down
a
the street
room.
and you can feel when
Yeah.
energy changes when someone's on something. It's not an Albanian, it's not an Eastern European, it's not an East Asian or a South Asian person. It's something of your own kind. There's a reason why the term is not all skin folk are kinfolk, because ultimately it's your people trying to eradicate you from this planet.
And I don't disagree with that because I've heard this theory on maybe different levels or whatever from, like I would keep saying, from different black men in my life or that I know and I'm around.
I protect my family. I don't care
So
for the
It is
next
a thing
man.
of protect yourself kind of thing. Always.
But this is the thing. As for someone where I grew up in like 80s, 90s London, where there was a sense of community, whatever your understanding of community is. Like, as far as me being in Walthamstow ramping, and then by the time I get to my home near Stratford, my mum's already heard about me ramping in Walthamstow, but my mum's at work in Liverpool Street. So how has she figured this out? Because someone in the community is keeping an eye on me and making sure that...
But that's how it was.
But this is what I mean. So watching that come to...
Because when I hear about my parents
what
talking about...
we as a community are now,
Yeah.
one, it is heartbreaking to see.
There's no hierarchy.
Two,
Yeah.
technology is not helping as
Anyone,
far as cognitively on that level, and how it's affecting people and how they are actually, as just people interacting. It affects
Do you know
people
what though? It
interacting
goes
with
back
each other.
to me saying that I'm like an optimist, right? And I see the good in a lot of things. So for instance, like we was talking about like social media and stuff just then, like that is a great tool for
business.
people. Yeah, not even just business, for people to be inspired by other black people. Before you couldn't even see it. Now you can see, like I can go
No, it
on,
is, but then
on
you've got-
Instagram
you've
and
got-
I
you've
can
got
see
that
social
on
media
top,
can
you've
be
got
great
that.
for so many things, but
But
also
it's
at
not
the same
used in
time,
that way.
It's not.
It's not used in
it's
that
not-
way. That's what I'm
it's
saying.
not used
You having that
and
view
bring
isn't-
it- and used to bring us together. Positive.
You having that view isn't bad, but there's also a level of naivety in that
I
statement.
wouldn't say I'm naive, but I'm just highlighting
I think she's
that
more
'Cause,
optimistic.
no, I'm
and it's a
I'm
good
with you.
point.
are
I'm
It's a
some
a
good
very
things,
positive
like, there
person,
are-
but then
there-
also there's real.
Thank you.
100%.
That's what I'm trying to
There's
say.
real.
What you're saying isn't bad because you're optimistic, but in the general practice in which
agree
most
with what
men
you're
live,
saying,
most
but-
most men live, or the way how society is,
Man, I'm tired.
being that way, there's a level of naivety in that. I can't walk outside and just walk into a certain area after hours and be naive after hours if I'm not from the area. I wouldn't do it.
How many people
Yeah,
wanna...
but that you'd just be
champion
basic
that?
if you just done that, right? That would just be very ridiculous.
Don't. Yeah.
And that's what we have to come down to. People have this when you talk about community. Community is kind of broached the way it's put out there, as in like a homogenous being of black being one thing, right? Yeah, not like inner city black, middle class black, private educated black. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
People put it into one category. So when people are saying, "Oh yeah," for example, "Oh, you're not really black," where is the hierarchy of black to define what blackness is?
Well, my level of black is and where it is on that scale.
Because the type of O's personality, for example, he is an eclectic black man. Right, yeah? And that's not a disrespect, he's just eclectic.
No, yeah,
right, yeah. As an adult, I can come across as an in-between black man. I'm not hyper masculine. I don't care for this bravado bullshit. I care about what I feel comfortable with me.
Based on your reaction to football results, you come off like that.
But then, no, but that's
You know
football.
what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm also hyper competitive. So
Yeah,
for example, I know the optics of what I give off to the general person when they meet me. I'm an anime person. People would never know that, for example, wouldn't it? There's so many
That neo side to you as well.
Yeah, I'm a neo soul
Yeah,
thing. I'm
yeah.
multifaceted. Some people, you have to understand, everyone's Like I can move in a room and be a chameleon. A lot of people don't want to be chameleons. They're happy in their zone.
Yeah.
And that's the point. The overarching thing, to go back to Tov's point, is listen, ultimately, yeah, the reason why I always say there's no community is because people don't care for other people. They just don't. People care about themselves first, and at best, some people care about their family. At best, some.
This is why we're diverse, because there's not to say that there's a huge community of us who don't care
Thank you.
about each other, who don't love each other, who don't love the next black person who they don't know.
I just think
in
it's
that
the
same way
lesser.
that they love someone in their family. That's not to say that we don't know that these people exist. They do.
It's just the lesser side of it, or lesser amount.
Unfortunately, the majority seems to be bullshit that even as a man, you're just walking down the street, you feel it all the time.
Yeah, bomb.
And it sucks. It does.
I'll give you an example.
As someone very positive as well, it does just make you think, well, you know, what's the fucking point?
Oh, name me a place you've been to outside the country where you can turn off your radar.
Face.
Yes, it does. Think about a time you've left London and you've gone somewhere and you're in an environment where you can relax. Where you can relax here, where you can switch off your normal senses you have in London.
Nigeria. Yeah.
Then
Although that's a lie, because then Nigeria got rough.
So when I was young with Birmingham, I can switch off. I can actually switch off. But it's because of where my grandma lives in Birmingham.
I still feel like Birmingham could be like that to a certain
No, but
degree
it's
now.
where my grandma lives in Birmingham that I can walk and I'm switched off. I've switched off. If I go on holiday in certain places, I've switched off. Like the same senses and the same think of something dumb. Ibiza. You've been Ibiza before.
I was going to say Ibiza as well.
Right, yeah. Ibiza, when you go on holidays, the one time people behave. Because you know if you get banged up abroad, you can't move like that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I went to
Ibiza did get very London-like.
Yeah, like recently. When I went to Ibiza a couple years back, yeah. When I went there, my shoulders were up. Then when I saw the vibes, my shoulders dipped. I was around rolled bricks and utes, but everyone was on vibes. I've never felt so relaxed in my life. You know the
go to Bournemouth.
you know the people who got into fist fights.
Remember when
Black
to
girls.
Bournemouth?
Black
Was
girls
it
got into
Bournemouth?
fights. I was so baffed.
At Tesco.
It wasn't all the men were on vibes. It was the black women that got into fights. I was so baffled by this because I was thinking, it's normally us.
It's not what you're used to.
Yeah. And that's the thing,
London is fucked.
it's not a London
What is
thing.
the solution,
be.
guys?
There's
What
no
is the
solution. There's no solution.
What? So
There's no solution because that's what I
okay,
said. For
there's
there to
no
be a solution,
but
there has
what
to be.
can we do to
I don't think there is a
ultimately
solution, and I
eradicate
think
some of these
anything
fears?
that
Because
we could
you're
do-
basically saying when your son grows up, this is life, innit? That's what you're gonna have to do.
I'm
with.
teaching my child to protect himself at all times.
Yes, but I'm saying that what you're saying is that this is it, innit? There's gonna be.
Facts.
That's really sad.
No, but this is what I was saying. It is sad, and I feel like if there's a change,
Word.
there's a change. But for me, I can't always say I'm always gonna have my backup, but
I think
I
I
kind of
think
am
that
gonna
it's
have to.
important as a community to not accept.
You
This
keep
is why
you keep using this community word. There's no community.
Okay, but I'm gonna use it, right? This is why, the things that we experience are always gonna be the same. Like they're not gonna change because people are not willing to come up with solutions.
It's not willingness.
Or,
People.
but you're accepting.
No,
You're
okay.
accepting.
So let me add to this. Yeah. For example, people tried to come up with the windows closed. People tried to add to this argument of the reason why people are lawless and people move a certain way. There's no youth clubs. But I've been in youth clubs where it was a setup for grounds. Yeah. For every T, you know this. Oh, you know this. Right. Yeah.
I do.
Youth clubs are breeding grounds for people getting set up. So where people used to say, for example, it's because they've cut budgets and there's not a youth club and there's not a dinner. Man, used to make a phone call and get caught in youth clubs.
What did you say?
Man, used to get caught. Man, had beef. Man, will make a phone call. Man, will get beat up outside youth clubs. Outside, right? Yeah.
They'll come in
To the youth club
and rush the place
Right,
out.
yeah. The kids now are lawless. People will stab people in broad daylight in Hyde Park, bareface. Right, yeah. So this is the point I'm trying to say. What you're saying on paper is like, this is what we need to do. You have to change someone's mind frame. You
That's
can't
what I'm
change
saying.
people.
It starts with us. That's what I'm saying.
You
So
can't
I'm saying-
change people's
saying,
mind frames.
Yeah, but it's all good and well our
raise my
mind
son
frames
to just
changing,
know
but you
he
can't.
needs
Thank
to
you.
move correctly.
Thank you.
No, I'm saying it's all good and well our mind frames changing, but that's why I was saying I don't think there's a solution because, not everybody's mind frame out there will change. Like, them people that are on road shit are on road shit. They ain't gonna sit there and think
and
about
this
what
goes-
can we do to change
And
our
listen,
community.
this goes back to the conversation I had last week about the parents thing.
And it
yeah,
also goes back to the conversation about I know it's on a different scale, but with people that are what was it, like abusers and things like that. And you said, is it based on the person or how that person has that mindset?
Thank you.
To be an abuser, to be a rapist, to be whatever.
Okay, but how do you
change?
How,
You can't change that person.
You can't change that person, but you can change how that person affects someone else.
No, you can't.
Yes, you
No,
can.
you can't.
Well, it
No, you
depends.
can't.
I think it's
No,
all
you
a
can't.
thing.
So
No, you
if
can't.
All right, no,
ultimately- so in that
explain
can't.
that to me then. Explain that what you're saying to me, so
Alright.
I can understand it more.
The system. Let's just call it as a system.
Yes,
The
call it
system
something.
is sick, right?
Yes.
You cannot change a system that is sick because everyone is basically plugged into the system that is sick. So by relation,
byproduct, yeah.
everyone connected to that system is sick.
From the top to the bottom.
You cannot
Yeah.
then go to the individual people of that system and go, how do we change this system? Because
We're not in
system is
control of the
still
system.
sick. Because we're not in control
Yes.
of the system. The system is
other
still sick.
people.
Therefore, we are still sick.
We could have a
Until-
bag of us that have the same thought
this is the thing.
process,
KDR.
but then
Yeah,
there's
but
other people that
There's exceptions to the rules. I keep saying this. There's something
but
called
I
the
get
exception
that
of the
though.
rules, yeah? But if you're talking, that's why I said the community is not a thing. Because yes, Tov could be an exception to the rule, but Tov's in her own bubble for what suits her and her friends and people around her.
And unfortunately,
No, I
Tavonya,
disagree.
along with
I
however many
disagree.
other, like, let's say all of us had the same thought process and we're all like that. That's still a
We'd be
minority
ignorant.
percentage
We'd
compared to.
we'd be ignorant if something popped up in front of us and we'd freeze.
No, listen, I'm not naive to the things that happen in our black community. I have brothers, I have a dad, I have male cousins, friends, etc. I'm very aware. When I talk about solution, for me, it's important that we don't, I guess, get stuck in this idea that we cannot change the future.
You have to
In
abolish the
sense
idea of
that,
you have to abolish the idea of
instance,
community first.
when I had my son, the way I wanted him to be raised and the effects that I want him to have on, I guess, people that he encounters in his life, etc., is dependent on what I teach him, right?
Yes
But
or no?
that's the next
Yes or no?
generation though, as
Yes or
well.
no? Because once you go to secondary school, right? Yeah, it's a completely different mech.
Yeah,
you
so
have
then
to
you're
hope.
just saying
You
that
have
you
to. No,
have
it's
no-
not. You have to hope that everything you taught your child when your child goes to secondary school
He's gonna
sticks
stick.
because he's not
Oh,
spending the
yeah.
same amount of time with you. He's spending more time around his friends, and his friends have a different aspect. And ultimately, kids want to fit in. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
Because there's unruly pitney out there.
There
that
you
have
go.
good
So this is the point I'm trying to say.
have good
You have to
backgrounds
abolish.
and
You have to abolish the
upbringings.
mind frame of
And
community
they could still
and think
sway.
think as individuals. People are naturally sheeps. I.e., why people run to social media, why people do the same things, why people love celebrity culture, because
think,
people.
we were speaking about this before when we was talking about, I can't remember how many episodes ago it was, but it was a topic that I'd brought up about how do you think, I think it was about the thing that I was saying about how young black boys are shaped into.
Yes.
And it was based on that. And I had this debate with my boyfriend and a couple of his like male friends as well. We was all talking, and it was down to the point where one of the guys, he said he came from a great home. He came from a home where he was raised by just his dad, him and his brother, but his dad had raised them well, and he wasn't there completely all the time because he had to work and
course.
provide for them, but he done the best he could at the time.
And this goes back to my 2-parent argument from last week.
And it was a case of, at one point, he did stray and he went down a bad path because he met friends, he went to school with these people, they was a bad influence. And it takes someone with a different mindset to be like,
There you
well,
go.
I'm not going to do that. Because I've had loads of friends all ended up in prison. I could have been like, yeah, I'm going to go and do what they do. But my mind
As
frame
I said,
was different.
no matter how you raise your child,
He's
the
obviously
minute
on a
they
better
go
path
to
now.
the minute they go to secondary school, it is out of your control. Hormones kick in.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
yeah.
not out of your control. You don't stop being a parent. When
You
your
don't
child
stop being a parent.
Goes to secondary school.
That's fine,
Yes,
but-
there
but
are external influences that you can't control because your child goes to secondary school and you're not with them
Yeah.
as you would in normal circumstances when they're younger. But your parenting doesn't stop.
I
You
never
just
said it
take
stopped.
second
I never.
guess.
By the way, no
I
one
don't
said that.
personally think-
No one said.
Okay,
No one.
but I'm
No one
trying
said
to
your
highlight
parent.
it doesn't
No one
stop,
said
so
your parenting
therefore-
stops.
No, it's almost like you said when you go to secondary school, you don't have no control of your kid.
No, I
They're
didn't
the
say
only
that.
person-
You're putting
okay,
my
so
mouth. I
what-
didn't say that.
okay,
I didn't say that.
right, so
He
explain
knows
to
I didn't say
me-
that.
I
No
think
one
you
ever
basically
said I didn't say
to
that.
me what you're saying.
Influence.
I
I've
basically
said it. It's
think
influence.
is what I was
So
saying.
I've never said that.
What it is
No,
that
but it's
you're,
what I was saying
you're
in
hoping,
the-
you're hoping that everything
Think you taught
them
your child-
leading up to that point.
Yes.
You just hope
Sticks.
that it sticks.
Okay.
It's hope.
You are also aware that they're around a lot of people who you
Didn't raise. Thank
So
you.
they don't have your values and everything that you
course.
put into your child.
Many
They
your
also
child-
spend maybe, possibly
More
a lot
time.
more of the day with your son than you do.
In the school, in the class, in the
Outside,
playground, on
in
the bus,
playground,
on the way
in
home.
park after school,
On the way to school,
bus.
on the way home from school. I
Little
get
things
it.
that will chip away at everything you've taught
And can be destroyed
and change
very
it,
quickly.
And now suddenly your child is talking back to you. You don't know why. Things like that. Do you know what
But
I mean?
it doesn't mean
so
to
it's
say-
not,
Part
it's
of
not
the
to say
journey.
that,
It's
no,
part of
of
the
course.
journey.
No, but that
it's
doesn't
not
mean to say
no,
as a
it's not to say-
parent,
yeah,
you stop. You're not. You've stopped.
No one said that.
Okay, that's
No
fine.
one
You've
said that.
clarified
I know
that.
that.
No
but
one
fine.
said
No, I
that.
know
It's
that you haven't
almost
said
like
it.
what
No
you
one said that.
said
No, don't.
was
No, I didn't pre. No,
insinuating-
No,
no.
I was breaking
No.
down what you were talking about because I'm saying from Tov's point of view, she sees it as she thought that you're saying.
No, I don't mince words. Everyone knows
No,
the podcast. I don't
no,
mince
but I know
words.
you
Okay,
didn't
but
say
I
I didn't
that.
mince words.
Your point
I
was
didn't mince words.
basically-
But I didn't say that. I'm not gonna say it's
No,
this.
but
I'm
Reese's
saying
point
this,
is
but what I mean is
basically
that no,
Otis-
it's
what
exactly.
Otis explains.
But she asked me a
He just
question. I
explained
didn't
what
finish
he's
my.
trying to
Yeah,
say.
but she asked me a question, and I said, "But it sounds like you're saying that." That's like me saying, "Oh yeah, it's kind of hot outside."
No, but
So what you're
that's
saying,
why
I can't
I
go
think-
outside because of. I didn't say that.
No,
That's the
that's why I
point.
think on this podcast sometimes we have to listen to what each other is
There
saying.
you go. I didn't-
And the fact of the matter is, it is true. Like I was saying
Thank
in my
you.
example, you just need to make sure that when you're not going to stop teaching your kids. For me, my mum never stopped teaching us or telling us things that we need to do. There were some things that I did, and I was a very good girl, but I used to do some cheeky shit. Just because my mum, she was like the best parent, and that's not even me being biased, or call it biased, whatever. She was the best parent. But was there some times where I stepped out of line and sometimes I didn't come home till 8 o'clock because I was like, oh, I was at my friend's house or didn't want to pick up my phone? Yeah. And did I not learn? It's like my friend.
But it's part of the journey. Do you know
but
many kids that
but
don't
that's what
do
we're
that?
talking about. And it's not to say that I was a bad kid because I turned out to be a really good kid. But there are some things that you might stray, and it is that for me was out of my mum's control.
Yeah, but
But it was nipped in the
when
bud.
you say stray, when you
Kid, Mad City.
when you say stray,
Yeah.
when you say stray,
My
you also
friend
have
that
to
I was talking
understand.
about as well, my friend Shings, he strayed quite a bit, and because of his mindset and probably how his parents were, his dad was towards him, there was at one point he realized, no, this is not what I should be doing. This is a bad path, and he straightened himself out.
But when
There's
you say
kids that just
stray,
won't.
the point is when you saying stray, and this is the overall point I'm trying to say.
It just means
when you say stray, this is what you have to understand. What a lot of people don't teach people is when you get older, mistakes, right? Yeah, you have to be taught to limit mistakes.
Yeah.
Right,
Don't get me
yeah.
wrong, though. There's
One
kids that get
mistake.
parented well and they don't
No,
step out of line
one
at all.
mistake.
And
One
that's what
mistake.
we're hoping for.
One mistake can change your entire life.
Of course it can.
Yeah. So regardless of whatever Tov's saying, one mistake can get you put in jail. One mistake can get you branded by whatever line people want to paint you with. Once you make that mistake, right, yeah, the world we live in, there is no get back. This is why I'm trying to say I'm not being harsh. I'm being very realistic to what actively exists. Right, yeah? Regardless of how well you parent your child, and just like you, I was parented very well. Right, yeah? Right, yeah? Fear kept me out of trouble. I also have an older
100%.
adopted brother who has been in jail for most of my life. Right, yeah? So I have a benchmark for why I shouldn't do what I should do. Right, yeah? Everything towards everyone in certain situations is ignorant. Lack of information Kids do certain things because they're ignorant, because they do not understand, especially this generation, especially our generation, the ramifications of their actions. When you make a mistake, right,
There
at
are
a certain scale,
consequences.
there are consequences. Parents, a lot of parents do not teach their children about consequences, and
this
that's
is
why
what
there are a
we're
lot of
saying
little
as well.
shits. The reason why, no matter how well you parent your child, you do not control your child's friends or the environments they're in when they're not in your direct eye line.
wish
And it
was
goes
that
back to your
simple,
point
though.
where you just have
It's
to
not that
hope
simple.
that your kid is savvy enough to know what you're telling them.
Keyword is hope. I keep saying it's hope.
No, it is to know what you're telling them. You can educate your child till you're blue in the face, and your child could either, for you example, it was enough for you to listen to your mum and also have that element of fear, like shit, I know what I should and shouldn't be doing. Same for me.
As I
Same
said, it
for
takes a
Tom.
village. It takes a village.
And
There you
I'm
go.
pretty sure that when you raise Xavier, and then obviously if you have more kids, it's going to be the same for them. Yes, there is that part that may be like, you know, your child's going to grow up to be a good kid. He's going to grow up to listen. He's going to grow up to know all this and stuff and stay out of trouble. There could be a part where one day he's just like doing something and he probably doesn't think and he gets into trouble.
But this is life, though, isn't it?
But
guys?
it happens.
This is.
But it doesn't mean to say, like you said, you stop parenting, because from whatever happens, if your child gets in trouble or whatever, Tom, Dick and Aaron, everyone else are going to be there to straighten that child out. Some kids ain't lucky to have that.
In answer to the ultimate question, what's the solution?
The solution is you've just...
There currently isn't one.
Okay, right.
For me,
I
you
would
just got to
just
be
like
on
to
top
say,
of your
listen,
kids.
we need to acknowledge, us as black people, we are great, we are
we're
amazing,
gorgeous.
and we have so much to offer to this world.
We're gorgeous.
We cannot
Make a white
continue to
man say
shoot
that.
ourselves in the foot
Make a white man say that sentence.
and not
gorgeous, mate.
not have
We're the
hope
first ones
or
here.
try to influence or give
I
ideas
don't think
to.
it isn't. I don't think it is good. And
I don't
we
care
can
about other
always-
black people, bro.
We can always influence
the
each
problem.
other.
Yes, it's people like you, Reece.
No,
I'm
because you keep saying as
disappointed.
black
this is
people.
us.
Thank
This
you.
is us
You keep saying as
now.
black people. If a white person said that sentence, you're gonna be like, how entitled?
This is
It's
us
groupthink. It's
now.
groupthink
That's how it
mentality
feels
for
to
why
us
this
now.
exists. There has to be a level of individualism, right? Yeah. Ultimately, people need to look after their family and pattern their family first. You cannot speak on other black people
Remember,
because
remember
that's
I said,
what I'm doing with
remember,
my son.
Remember,
That I'm trying to make sure
and no
he's
one,
good.
Not disputing that, but remember I just said I came up 80s, 90s, 00s to now.
Mm-hmm.
The black community
Is a
as
mess.
Whatever it was, it's no more that.
We
And
know that though,
that's-
because
But we
Yeah, but-
shouldn't
but this is
settle
the
for
thing.
that because we know what
No,
it was
no,
we're
no.
not
like.
talking
No,
about settling for
But
it.
just because we have come to the we've come to the
Understanding of what it
conclusion
is.
that this is what it is, that doesn't mean we're happy with it.
Okay.
But unfortunately, children who are now coming up into adults are pushing us further and further and further and further away from what that was. And unfortunately, there aren't enough people with your positivity and the people who you are meeting with that positivity and that energy who have enough of a
But
stamp
this is
to
why these
make a
conversations are
change.
important.
It doesn't, no, they're not. They're not
That's not to
important.
say it again, but it's
They're
not
not
saying we
important.
don't want the change. We would love it.
It's not important.
No,
You're going
But-
round in a circle.
agree with
Again, the
Why
system
these
is sick.
I mean,
so
the
the
you're
people
going to-
connected
because-
to
no,
the
I'm
system
talking about this
are
pod.
sick.
These
Oh.
conversations are important.
I don't think
because
it's
people
important.
that will listen and it's like take a split second, and be like, do you know what, rah? Like maybe I need to like.
No, but there is going to be that, but still, and it's not me being negative.
But then there's
I
10
just
people
don't
who are gonna
know
go, "All right,
if that's going to
so what
still
I
be
think it's important.
So what else?
People,
like what you
people,
said.
what's-
is it
what's-
gonna be-
people
is it
listen
gonna
to what
be
they
enough?
value.
Are
There
Nicki
can
and
be a
Cardi
certain
arguing again?
percentage-
People
yeah.
listen to
What's
what they
Miss
value.
Banks wearing?
People listen to
Oh,
what they
look at
value.
that! Look at that
There can
Harry
be a certain
Panera
per-
video. It's
a certain
the community. There aren't people who are thinking about the community enough
Yeah.
to
They
make an
think about-
effective change in our community.
As I said earlier on,
but
people think about
we want
themselves
it.
first before they
Believe
think
me, I'd be
before
there.
they think
Yeah.
about
There
their
is a
own
certain
family
level-
members.
There is
So
a certain level of people that do want it, but like I will always say, is that enough? I'm not saying is it enough to want it. Is that enough people? So let's say like we're a population of black people.
because there's more
And
of us
Tavonya's-
connected to the
and
system.
Tavonya's the
remember?
1%
you.
out
System's
of
sick.
us that wants it against. It's not going to happen, is it?
No.
So even if there are more people,
in
than
layman's
us,
terms,
30%,
in layman's
it's not
terms,
gonna-
I'm gonna say it one more time. You have to abolish the mentality of the black community, right? Yeah.
Mate,
As a black person,
just need
your
to
main
heal the world,
concern
make
is
it a better
yourself
place.
and your family.
Start
People
again.
are concerned with things that has nothing to do with them.
I think
That
if
is
you
why
have
this
the
this is why this
capacity-
exists.
If you have the capacity, like for me, I feel like I have the capacity. Yeah, I have the capacity to try to help other people that hence the CIC that I run, Marshall's Cheer and Dance. I have people from all walks of life, and I take them across the country. They're going to Florida next year. They're not my kids, but they might as well be, right? So I feel like where people have the capacity, we need to offer a helping hand where we can, because every little helps. We can't just be like, do you know what? I'm just gonna care about my family and that's it. If that's all you can do, then fine. But if you have the capacity to, and you feel like you have the capacity to, pull your finger out your ass and do something, instead of being one of these people that sit down and be like, do you know what? It's fucked, innit? Because you're not helping.
Yeah, but this
you're
is the
not
point
helping.
This is the point I'm trying to say. You can't help others.
The game is like, it's like, look, game's fucked, but
no,
I'm gonna go to work.
None of us
I got work in the morning, so
none of us are saying that. But ultimately, I'm saying this: your family, for example, if you became a millionaire tomorrow, yeah, and everyone's got their hand out, yeah, you know in your heart of hearts, you can't help everyone, right? Yeah, there you go.
But you do what you can.
Let me finish, right? Yeah, because you're just throwing money out the window. Right, yeah, you were given a blessing if you were doing. Right, yeah, you was given a blessing in the first place.
No, you people I give it to aren't gonna take it and grow it, and it's gonna be.
Thank you. You're given bad resources for no reason.
This is why you have to. You see, when like no one's saying give handouts, you know. For instance, like the example that I used with my son, like he's never gonna get handouts, but I'm gonna teach him to understand. So if I was a billionaire and I had this wealth of money and resources, when I'm going to help someone, I'm going to help them help themselves. You don't just be like, oh, here's this, I'm just going to help the community. You help them in a way that is then resourceful for themselves.
Understanding behind it, not
Thank
just
you.
do it for the sake of it.
Thank you.
But
And
that's
that's
what I'm not saying there's a
saying.
problem.
But
You
then-
can do that and put an understanding behind it, but as long as you know.
But if you're talking about your son is your kin. You're raising your son in the eye of your beholder. I think that's the correct term is, yeah. You're raising your son with an ideology in which you present on a day-to-day basis, regardless of whether I didn't say it can't be done.
I'm just saying.
No one said it can't be done.
No, I'm personally just saying. I don't think it can't be done. I think it can, but as long as there's an understanding behind it. There's a lot of people that have platforms and say, "Oh, I'm teaching this, and you're just throwing money or whatever." But certain people need to put understanding behind things.
Another question, yeah. Think about your relationship with a family member or a parent, yeah, or a parent. I'll say your dad, right? Yeah. When you were growing up, would you not say you valued his time more than his money if you had to pick the two?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now, if, for example, you're just being given money, it gives you.
About the monies.
No,
I'm joking.
Yeah, if he gives you money, it gives you a small part of self-gratification, but that's not ideally what you want, right? Yeah,
No, even with
what Tov's saying, yeah, she's not wrong at all in what she's saying, but ultimately, you have to understand that when you're talking about your kin is already on board with what you have to say, right? Yeah, as much as you want to help people, not everybody wants to be helped. Right, yeah, you have to help. You have to basically hope that when I'm saying you got to look after your family first, that the ethics in which you set in place and what you progress and what you want them to show, that when they're outside, when they're in the school, for example, around their tapped friend, yeah, that they're like, no, I don't want to do that. Your family member, your aunt is like, you pulling up people for no, you shouldn't say that's a bit off key. And then that's where you have the stem of, hopefully, right, yeah, the community being built. But what I want and what currently exists and will continue to exist, right, are two different things.
What we can say,
you can only continue, like what Tov's doing
is built through.
There's no community. What Tov's doing is not wrong.
It should be built through what the generations that we have now. I don't have that much of a hope for the newer generations. So as time goes on, probably
what Tov's saying is not wrong. But you have to understand what. I keep saying this.
Like our kids.
Tom's idealistic view is perfect if everyone gets on board.
You say Tom?
Tov. Right, yeah. You're an idiot. Right, yeah. Her idealistic view, he said, and like Jerry, right, yeah, is perfect. Is perfect if everyone gets on board. But no one's going to get on board because there's going to be a small majority of people that ultimately have that view. You can only hope. That's what you're saying. It's hope.
And
we're not talking like it's religion.
And that's why I was saying
religion
the whole optimistic side of things
blind faith.
Isn't a bad thing.
You have to treat it like religion, right? Yeah. you can't question someone's faith because it's
had-
blind faith.
If we had
You
more
have to.
optimists and faithful people, like people that hold
People
faith
would take.
in the world.
People would get take for full like they do now.
Some
Do you know
do.
what though? I feel like it's so.
It depends how you look at it, though.
Like it's mindset, right?
It is
Like,
mindset.
I feel like
but
a lot
that's
of
what I
it
said,
is
depends how
equally
you look at
mindset.
it.
Like, can I ask you, men in the room, like, what have you done to help
A lot.
your
What have
community?
you done for me
Even though you don't like
lately?
that word, what have you done lately, or what do you
yeah.
think that you could
Go on,
be
Ho.
doing?
I do a lot. I just want to talk about on
What
pod.
have you done for me
Okay,
lately?
is there something that you want to talk about? What do you do
Honey?
that helps
I-
your community?
I work in a school.
Amazing.
I'm helping communities every day. But what I was gonna say was,
Fuck those kids.
listen. I was gonna say follow them here.
I thought he was going. I thought that's what was coming.
No.
All right.
Not in the standard of that conversation. no.
Remember General before he was killed. There were rumors and talks and conversation of General Gaddafi
Of who?
Wanted to unite.
wanted to unite.
Yeah.
Of who?
Basically, sort of.
Before who was killed?
Listen,
Sorry, I didn't hear.
General
you were
Gaddafi
screaming.
was unifying and basically was in the process of
uniting
creating-
Africa in an American type of
in
way.
basically like an Africa pound, well, an Africa like a currency,
Yes.
right? Thank you. Do you believe if that was able to
Happen.
if that was able to happen, that everyone in the community would sign up for?
No. You also have to understand
See?
you also have to understand the structure of.
Then I never disagreed with what you were saying. I
Because
basically saw both sides
Because
of
with
it.
what he was doing with that type of thing was he was basically like, okay, so we're gonna start from the very, very beginning. We're all coming together, everyone.
Yeah.
And even then, even just saying it as an idea, you're still going, yeah, I don't see that. Instantly, it's like it's
'Cause we're cynical.
It's
you
People
kinda
mindset
cynical.
though. And it goes with anything. Like people can
Sucks,
people
but-
will picture an idea.
I hate that.
Or for instance, like there's many a times where you might pitch a business idea, and they're like, "No, do you know what? I don't think so."
iPads 15 years ago.
Like I don't. And then all of a sudden, you run with your idea, you put the groundwork in, and it's an amazing thing. But the majority of people just thought you was cuckoo. And
No, but it's visual.
Crazy.
It's
right?
visual. The thing is, when you have a visual mind, when you're looking at Bezos and those type of people, yeah, you have to understand. Even to use Kanye as an example, right? Yeah, you have to oversell something and make people want something. One of my friends called it the purple in business. It's called the purple cow premise. So you can be on the motorway and always see a cow. Then you see the purple cow. Then you're like, not seen one of those before. That's how you have to treat certain things in business. You got to make someone want that thing. Ultimately, as I said, there's no community because we don't want the same thing. People will casually tell you.
You equally have to like eat, sleep, and breathe your idea.
There you go.
As well.
People
Like,
don't care for that. There's
it starts
different
with
types.
you first. You
Yeah,
can't
people
sell
don't-
something.
People
to
don't care for
someone
that.
if you don't
I'm not
believe in
listen.
it yourself.
I'm not naive. Before we even wrap, I've said this to you lot on the pod from 2 years ago when people were marching for the BLM, and I said I'm not going. I said why? Because it's history repeating itself. I said, are people outside because they care, or are people outside because we're in lockdown? Right? Yeah. I said whether it's Rodney King, Martin Luther King, or this situation, are people outside because they genuinely care, that they feel like BLM matters? Because you saw the ignorant things. Don't have your mouth open for black dick, but be quiet for blacks. That all them stupidness. Guess what? People went back to work. It went silent. Why? Because ultimately, you saw what people's angle was.
Yeah, it's a very quiet Black History Month this year.
There you go. High five to that. And that's what you have to understand. It's all good for people to say, yeah, let's do this. People will show you the type of people they are without even opening their mouth.
That's why it's important. It goes back to what I was saying. If you have the capacity, you've got to keep going. If it's not for...
I just stopped calling it a community. I just don't call it a community. I just call it a collective of people.
There are plenty of us who still believe each one's each one.
Of course. I
But
still
we
believe
all
that.
do it in our own
Own
way,
way.
as opposed
And that's
to
important.
it
And that's what
being
we
a-
need to keep doing. We need to keep doing. The end.
But before we wrap it all up, what was you gonna say? I feel like there was something you was gonna say.
No, he said he was thinking.
No, you said you had.
I
lied
really
to
enjoyed
me.
this.
You
pod.
said you had.
I'm very
topics.
passionate
Babe,
about.
What's up there?
We're not now
My
gonna go.
black
Oh, so
people.
what topics do we have? when we're wrapping up.
No, I just
Yeah.
thought there might be no, because sometimes you like to.
So this has
end
been
with, like, a
episode
little-
123 of the Different Shows podcast. You can find this DSP on all your favorite DSPs. My
Yeah, I
personal
really wanna
favorite
say it, but I was
YouTube.
speechless.
You can find mine, Mark's,
thought you had,
O's,
a little
Kadia's,
questionnaire to work
and
with, no?
Tov's information in the
something
description
cute.
below. You can find O's book business website and Mark's photography business in the description
This
below.
Bitch.
I've been Raw Talk Reese. To my left has been,
Mr. Oh, hey, hey, ho, ho.
across from me's been,
KKK.
and to my right's been,
Tavonya.
Got me
featuring
paying my rent.
T
paying
Killer
my
in the
rent,
corner.
diamonds on my
And
neck,
we'll be back
diamonds
next
on my
week.
wrist.
Love and guidance.
Here I am all alone.
All alone.
All alone.
That was